All right, that was slightly more one-sided than the first match we had. Completely crushed.
Yep. Absolute domination. I think the big mistake was Choke Point dumped so much DPS into that Vargar, desperately trying to kill it, and they just couldn't get the job done. They wasted too much time, too much potential damage. They left that Link Tengu alive. Link Tengu's pretty easy to snap kill if you can catch him.
Yeah, like you said, the Link Tengu probably has 0 tank, so they, if they're running 3 to 4 links, they're going to have to drop a lot of tank to throw in the command processing module. The Vargars have great autocannon range with the Barrage Tech 2 ammo, so they were able to hit out, get those frigates that E-War off the field to free up that logistics to save the Vargar. So I think that them not killing the Vargar fast enough was huge, but them not being able to possibly go after those frigates with the Gilas or Helas and get those the other side or unreloaded E-War off the field definitely hurt them a lot.
All right, so we don't have Homonoya with us all day, so let's get some questions in. I mean, I think I have a fairly good picture of customer support work, but I think you guys should ask some questions. So think for a few seconds and let's just take a look at the group standings and then we'll come back with some questions for Homonoya. So this is first day, Group A has been concluded. Hun Reloaded, completely stomped Choke Point. Nolly in fairly dominating, but it didn't feel as easy as the other one.
I think that once you tip this, there's some steps that once you tip the scales are just slide right off a deep end. There's just a complete snowball. I think that other groups make for a closer match. If things don't go your way, you can sort of still put up a good fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we saw it's a lot of the E-War setups that had that weakness, which is what the Oracle setup that we just saw was based around, was the Molluses and the Griffins keeping everything jammed. But for questions for Homonoya, how did you come up with your name?
There's several reasons actually why I have this name. The first one, it's simply the name of the Greek goddess of concord, or oneness of mind. Homo means one or the same, and Noia is mind. Okay. The second reason is a lot of game masters choose their names and even their avatars with the idea in mind that we're dealing with angry people, and the amount of things I've gotten away with because people went homo is ridiculous. And for the same reason, a lot of GMs tend to have female avatars, for example.
All right. And second question, I tend to file a lot of stuck petitions, even for things that there are subcategories for. What do you think about everyone filing everything under stuck?
We mostly want people to file stuff under the categories where they're supposed to go. We monitor stock constantly, and if something is filed into stock and it doesn't belong, then we simply filter it out. We don't tell you, we just move it to where it's supposed to be, and we'll get to it whenever you're supposed to be getting to it.
Okay, so you just don't hate us and move it and then forget about it for a while?
No, unless someone is obviously doing this to try and abuse the system, then we may say, hey, please don't do this. But generally, we just filter it out. If we could handle everything in stock, we would. Okay. I'm a big proponent of getting as much into this high priority queue as possible. In an ideal world, everything would go in there. Unfortunately, some things just take a lot more time to deal with, which is why we need to filter it out.
All right, then I guess I will take more time filing my petitions then.
I have a question. Now, I imagine you get a lot of angry petitions. What percentage would you say are very polite, asking for you to fix something, and what percent are like, you're a terrible person, fix this thing?
Most are actually quite neutral. They just stay with the ones that people obviously irritated, mostly. I mean, you only file a petition if there's something wrong, and if you need our help for something. A lot of people are polite, but I think it's about 20-20 polite and really, really abusive ones, and the rest is kind of neutral. Maybe a little bit irritated, but most people are pretty okay.
I have another question. What alliance in 0-0 do you think submits the most petitions?
I should stay neutral in that, but I think you have a few good ideas.
Oh, okay. So it'd sort of be in my head the usual suspects are most likely correct.
Well, let's look at it this way. Bigger alliances, more people that can decide to file a petition. So.
Okay. All right.
I'm a little bit curious about the whole female avatar thing. Is there like an actual strategy on approaching your customers that you take a female avatar?
Not officially.
All right.
And we encourage every game master to find his own way to deal with this. The best way to deal with someone difficult is to find whatever works for you. So we don't write this down and tell people this is the way how you need to do things. However, we do have people that have an actual strategy. We have, for example, we have a GM for our Serenity server, China. And the GM name pretty much translates to little girl. And we've literally seen petitions where someone was incredibly abusive, that GM answers, and then they go like, "Oh my God, I am so sorry. Can you please hand me over to another GM because I don't want to be mean to you?"
Yeah. So building off this question, do all GMs roleplay as girls online?
No. Maybe I should change my dev name to CCP Cutie Pie or something.
That would work.
People would be less angry.
You can recruit all the white knights for CCP Cutie Pie.
Oh,
We have a GM Sparkle.
yeah, that's true. GM Sparkle. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that might. All right. Any other customer service related questions?
I have a question that's not quite as related to customer service. How did you become a GM and just generally play EVE Online?
I actually have a relatively boring story. I'm one of the few people that simply applied to the job and got it. However, I've been playing EVE since January 2006. I've been here since July 2009. Between those points, I've been very active in EVE. I've done the whole, lead in alliance thing, the whole do bosses and moon mining and building and even mining and leading fleets. Obviously, I don't do that anymore right now.
I think there's a no Michael Bolton's clause in the application. So.
No, well, so you led fleets and you did all that sort of stuff?
Yeah. I was mostly responsible for the logistics side of my alliance, but I led most of the defensive fleets.
Oh, that's very cool.
Yes.
I have a question. What's the average turnaround on a petition? Because I haven't filed a petition in quite a long time. And every now and then you go onto the forum and someone is like, "My petition has been waiting for 10 weeks." And you're like, "No, that can't be right."
Well, let me tell you one thing about the forums. Most people that post on the forums that say, "I have a petition waiting for 3 weeks," whatever, those petitions are usually in a little queue that we reserve for people who've been banned for being bad. And those get the absolute lowest priority. Those petitions take a lot of manpower to resolve and a lot of time to do properly. Only a very small group of game masters can do those. So those tend to take a long time. On average though, the high priority queue, the stock queue that you mentioned, on average we take about 5 to 15 minutes to do them. Most other stuff we try to get within first reply in 24 days. 24 hours, not 24 days.
Eventually.
Yes, maybe. If it's billing related, we usually get to it pretty quickly because we're dealing with people's real money, and if you think people get mad over a game, people get really mad about their own bank account. So we get to those very quickly usually. Gameplay stuff takes a little bit longer. Right now, people are being really active on the server, and we've had a large increase in subscriber numbers, which means that right now we're playing catch up. However, we've been hiring aggressively. It takes about 3 to 6 months for a game master to become fully operational, so to speak. So we had a period where it was around 3 weeks. Right now we're down to, I think, 5 days maybe.
All right. I think we're just going to quickly look at the teams coming up here. We have their stats. This is Agony Empire versus Fatal Ascension. Again, one of those win one, lose one, and then 2 wins. How about these guys? I thought Agony was bigger.
I don't think Agony has ever been that large. They're a pretty strong team. I don't think they're as strong as Fatal Ascension.
Yeah.
Yeah, FA had great showings in the first 2 weekends with dual Sleipnir setups. Agony, I believe they were larger in the past years.
Yeah.
But what I think is interesting is 3 teams so far have not had flagships. Yeah. We don't normally see them fielded much, but a lot of the Baelgorns that you see will be faction fitted with the long range newts, and the web of fire bonus, and the Baelgorn's amazing. So
Well,
I think we might also have switched them around up there
Mhm.
because it said ship name Balgorn and ship type pink unicorn. And
well,
I'd just
that's
like to-
actually
I'd just like to stress we don't have a pink unicorn.
Nuanced
in
Serenity,
online.
the new ship type pink unicorn.
Yes.
No, I actually found it very interesting. We saw a team with no designated flagship had a Balgorn on field.
Hmm.
So you would think if you were going to field a Balgorn, you might as well make it a faction fit one.
Might as well. All right, predictions.
prediction, definitely Fatal Ascension.
I'm going to go with Fatal Ascension, my bros.
I go with Agony Empire simply to be the devil's advocate here.
I think they're going to fatally ascend on Agony Empire.